Hey, good morning from North Carolina here. I just want to do a quick tips and tricks video for 958 Porsche Cayenne owners that are doing fluid maintenance, whether it be transmission, front differential, transfer case, which I highly recommend doing every 5,000 miles, and rear differential. Hopefully you could save a little bit of money from this and take something with you. I recommend watching other how-to videos and using other reference guides like Blau Parts. They have some very informative videos for doing maintenance. I do have the 2011 958 Cayenne Turbo with the non-locking differential. So mine does not have to take a special fluid other than 7590. I know if you have the locking that you have to use a special fluid, whether it be Porsche or a Motul or whatever. Firstly, this is the front differential that I'm currently working on. So I want to start by saying people said that you had to have a low profile hex bit, which would work. Here's a hex bit. It's not low profile. The head is pretty small, but this did not work. That is a very, very tight space in there. So if you want to buy one, be my guest. It's up to you. Would it probably make it a little bit easier? Yeah. I didn't have the parts on hand. That's the one thing I didn't order. So I didn't want to hold the job up. So this is what I used. Used a regular Allen wrench and this breaker bar. And this did the job. So just saying, it can be done. Improvise. Yeah, I had a little bit of metallic on mine. I've already wiped it off. You can replace the bolt if you want. I am not, but anyways, yeah. Next, transmission. This one was the most difficult, and I will stress this probably more than once in this video. It's very important that your vehicle is level. I have the air suspension, it's finicky, I have a slow leak, so it made it that much harder. What I did is I used a reference point after messing it up the first time and getting incorrect fluid level. Cost me a lot of time. Anyways, let's see if I can do this one. See this right here? This is a reference point that I use to measure. And I just use this tape measure. Did it obviously from here, this bolt, to the ground on all four corners. That should be equal. I mean, you don't have to use that. You can use another reference point, something that's all the way around that's going to be equal. I like the bottom of that control arm. It's up to you. I chose that and I made sure it was equal, because if it is off, your fluid levels will be off, and I found that out the hard way. Do not want to do it. It's waste time, waste fluid. Just don't do that. Okay, so I know a lot of people use the garden sprayer method. They use the pumps, which are good. I have both. This is the best one I found after trying all of them and testing it for you guys. This is an oil extraction pump. You can get it on eBay for cheap. If you already have one, perfect. Hooks up to a 12-volt battery, at least this one does, on and off switch. The suction head on it isn't too extravagant. I mean, it does it efficiently, but not overpowering. Obviously, this is the intake side right here. This is my rabbit off fluid that I used, the ATF fluid. Then this is the small. This is very important right here. So note the diameter on this one, and note this one. This one's obviously smaller. And why is that? Well, you take this bolt out, and you will see a level insert. It is green. It's 5 millimeters, and it goes up into the transmission pan. This is very important because this is what dictates correct fluid level. So that has to be in, it has to be hand tight, plus one little turn. You gotta remember it's plastic, you don't wanna break it. So what I did is, when you're in the process of draining this thing, obviously the bolts are gonna come out, even that insert. So what I did was, once I was ready to fill the fluid, I got replaced my filter, did my gasket, did my spacers, did all that good stuff. And also make sure that you torque these per spec, and you do diagonal like you would do a car tire. That one to this one over here to the opposite. Just keep going all, back and forth. You do not want to do that all on the same side. You're gonna put yourself in a pickle. You will need a swivel for those. So just a little bit of pressure at a time going up. That way the gasket evenly seats. I did use some transmission fluid to ensure I got a good moist contact surface. I cleaned the surface of both the pan and the top right there. I cleaned that off really good to the transmission. Got all gasket material and all crud off of there, so I would recommend doing that. Yeah, so what I did was, back to the insert, is once it's drained, once it's going back up, you got everything mounted and you're ready to fill it. This is what I did. I cut a little angle on this, and you can even use a little bit of heat if you want to shrink it, if you don't have one that's this small. Whatever you can do to make it fit. But anyways, this goes into that bolt's gonna be out obviously, and it goes into that recessed level insert. That green plastic insert goes into that. Now it cannot be loose, it has to be a snug fit, but this will work, and it worked flawlessly with me. I didn't have any leak in fluid, so I saved myself $27 by just using this fitting up into that, as opposed to using the extension that, you know, you can buy. And if you want to make it easier, honestly, by all means. But if you happen to have something of this diameter laying around with the oil extraction pump or whatever you're going to use, you know, it can work. Just like the Allen wrench, it's improvising. So with the money I've saved and doing little stuff like this, I actually upgraded to this Ravenol fluid, which is expensive as shit. Even more so than the Porsche, but it is quality fluid. As quality as it gets. So again, level. This has got to be level. Please do not make sure. Please make sure that this is level. So in regards to that, another thing that I noticed when I was filling up the transmission and doing the procedure, you'll see many videos on it. This flies in terms of getting heated up, right? So this has to be 104 degrees when you check at the pan. I bought one of these Harbor Freight thermometers right here, 15 bucks. You know, you can use the OB2 sensor route. It's got this software that hooks up to it. I didn't want to do that. So, but keep in mind, these are off about 3 to 7 degrees. So with that in mind, I believe the first tolerance is 95 degrees. So what I did is I checked it at 92 when it was 92. And that way I knew I had that variance of at least 3 degrees. And I did that. So it's going to take 15 minutes to get it, you know, close to that. But I want to warn you, once it gets within that 90 degrees-ish, it starts flying up, and I mean fast. So you do not want to go above the threshold where the heat gets too hot, it starts expanding, which is around 114, I believe. I got mine around 105, 106, 107, something like that. The very highest. So yeah, you don't want that to happen. So what I'm trying to get at is you don't want to put a shit ton of fluid into this. Like, you don't want to put 9 to 10 liters of fluid. I just put 8. I did my 6 liters first without the car started, put it in cold, right? That was perfect. And then I started the car, went through the gears, all the gears that I could, did it 3 different times, pausing about 5 seconds in between each gear, which allowed a little more fluid to get into it. I ended up putting 2 more for a total of 8. But you do not want to do any more than 8, trust me. I know most kits come with 9, don't do it. Just put 8, because I'll tell you, once you get to that point where that fluid starts getting hot fast, and it does, you're going to have fluid coming out thick. You want it to be down to a slow dribble, you know, by the time it's getting hot, like up to 105. You want it to be a slow dribble. You don't want to have to keep being a steady stream, and you're like, shit, you're already 110, 112 degrees. You do not want that. So, another little tip. The transfer case is pretty easy. Only thing I could say with that is use the good Ravenol fluid, and always check to make sure you can get the fill plug out first before you put your fluid in. That way you're not screwed. Use correct torque specs. If they require crush washers, then use them. I don't believe the transfer case did. I know this did, the transmission. So keep that in mind. But I did mine. I'm going to be doing mine every 5,000 for the transfer case. You know, the clutches in this wear quickly. Bad design with the heat and all that such. So yeah, every 5,000, whenever I do my oil change and rotate my tires, do the transfer case fluid. This fluid was, where's it at? Over there. That fluid was $30-some a piece. I bought 4 of them. And if yours is really dirty, you know, it may not be a bad idea to start flushing it out sooner to get that old, excuse me, stuff out of there. So that's not a bad idea as well. And also, if you were doing this transmission fluid, I would highly recommend doing it before 90,000 miles. I had a decent amount of metallic stuff all over my magnets. Well, you'll see once you open up the pan, you're going to have some stuff on there. I had a decent amount. Mine's only got 80,000. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Once it gets to a point where, you know, it's 120,000, even higher, I personally wouldn't recommend doing the transmission. People have their opinions on that. That's just mine. Yeah, so nothing special about the rear end fluid. Like I said, I have the non-locking, so I can use the same oil that I used in this back there. The cool thing with the Ravenol, right, is it comes with these really cool spouts. See the spouts? So you can just fill it. The front differential, the rear differential, and the transfer case with this, you don't even need a pump or anything crazy, which is really cool. So I just keep that around. I cleaned it out really good, and you can use it a universal fluid filler. That's what I actually did for the for this right here. I used that, just cleaned it out really good, put my Mobile One in there, and I did use Mobile One. I know it says limited slip on it, the Mobile One 7590, but it's fine. It's more of just detergents that aren't going to hurt anything. It even says on the back that it's fine if you don't have limited slip. So I like Mobile One. That's what I use. I did not want to buy the Porsche. The Porsche stuff is expensive. Mobile Ones suffice for me. But I did spend up on the transfer case fluid and the transmission fluid. I believe that kit was $300, but it came with everything I needed again. So yeah, I'm sorry this is longer than I anticipated. Another little cool thing is I gutted these out. This is kind of off topic, but I gutted these 2 cats out. There's 4. There's 2 more that you cannot see up there near closer to the turbo. Yeah, up in there. I did not do those because those will throw a light. These will not throw a light if you either use high flow cats or you gut them out like I did. Saved myself $1,300, which is the cost to replace these. And you know what? I got a nice little sound increase. Not obnoxious, but got a little throatier / better throttle response. You don't have to buy new gaskets. I didn't have any problems, but probably be smart too. But yeah, I just took a day and gutted these out. I just used a chisel, Dremel tool. I mean, it was a long process, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of magnesium in there. It took a long time to get out, but they are perfectly clean. There's no restriction. You can hear the turbos a little bit. I highly recommend doing this upgrade if you have the 2011 turbo like I do. But that's it, guys. Like I said, make sure it's level. That's the biggest thing. Make sure you're using proper torque specs. If you use extensions on your wrenches, make sure you have a setting for that where you can adjust on your torque wrench. Will throw it off. So yeah, good luck, and feel free to message me. And I apologize again for this is being so long. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't do this very often. I just wanted to help you guys out. So have a good day, guys. Peace.